fighting to the death.
It's really brutal, and everyone knows it was out there.
Coming home is the biggest fear.
Every soldier out there, no soldier wants to go on that front line. Not even me. And I went out there to fight. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous. And anybody who goes out there and says they're not scared is they're lying, because it's not a coward thing to say. Fear keeps you alive.
I remember feeling so much fear in that moment that my muscles in my legs began to buckle as I was walking.
Right there! There's a Ukrainian!
And I felt a sense of divine interference where the bullets sprayed around me.
It's the claim, right side. It's kind of like being strapped into a roller coaster, especially when you're a kid, and you're very, very nervous but excited, but regardless, like, that's it now, like, you're going.
We need to push.
Тікайте! Тікайте! Тікай! Сука, всіх 300 до туза!
Don't think about it morally, think about it neurologically. Let's think about what happens in your brain when you're in combat. Time slows down, you get this weird tunnel vision. You notice some details very, very, very accurately and other things drop out. It's almost a slightly altered state of mind.
Розбігаємося!
What's happening in your brain is you're getting an enormous amount of adrenaline pumped through your system.
Go, 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 go. Schwach him.
Young men will go to great lengths to have that experience.
Ex-British soldier Leeds recounts vividly and painfully one of the worst firefights he endured on Ukraine's front line, which resulted in the heavy loss of some of his closest comrades. These are difficult moments for soldiers to recount the traumatic loss of their brothers. And this is real footage of real lives about to be lost.
Fighting for our lives, but unfortunately they killed 4 of us and they wounded 9 of us altogether.
It's the claim, right side.
But it also made me more mad, because I knew then, like, what they're capable of, and obviously they've just killed a lot of our team. To the point where we're all best mates and we're all laughing, fighting together for months, and then suddenly you come back and you're looking in empty beds, and it's like everyone else is fucking dead.
Katapo speaks of some of his most horrific and haunting moments he ever witnessed.
Digging up rubble from a building with a drone strike. We're going to get people out. And I found a crushed baby under the rubble. This really flicked a switch in me that these people here deserve to die.
This American soldier, to be known only by his call sign Elvis, is concerned his comrade may commit suicide after the horrors he witnessed. He shares some of his darkest hours on Ukraine's front line.
20 or 30 guys burning alive, and several gunshots, because there was nothing else they do. So a lot of guys have suicide pistols, and you'd hear them scream, and then they would say goodbye and then blow their own heads off. It's war. At least that's what I tell myself. Unique sound when you hear that many death rattles. This is nothing like any conflict in the past 70 to 80 years. This war is not sustainable for either side.
Sebastian Junger speaks out on how many returning soldiers actually miss war and the fear of returning to the civilian world after all they have witnessed.
How is it someone can go through the worst experience imaginable and come home, back to their home and their family, their country, and miss the war? In some ways, kind of an uncomfortable question. Both civilians, obviously, and soldiers suffer in war. I don't think any civilian has ever missed the war that they were subjected to. And I've been covering wars for almost 20 years, and one of the remarkable things for me is how many soldiers find themselves missing it. How does that work? What's it mean? We have to answer that question, because if we don't, it'll be impossible to bring soldiers back to a place in society where they belong. And I think it'll also be impossible to stop war if we don't understand how that mechanism works. The problem is that war does not have a simple, neat truth, one simple, neat truth.
As Sebastian says, there is no one precise truth. War is inherently contradictory, in fact, possessing as many truths as there are people who experience it. The line between a hero and a villain blurs, depending on whose perspective you are viewing. The one constant is that war fractures into multiple, deeply personal realities. Mothers on both sides grieve the loss of their sons and daughters. This mother has just discovered the body of her son, recognizing him only by his shoes. Many returning combat soldiers return home suffering from severe post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injuries, and insomnia. Kiwi soldier Kata Po believes it is far from a disorder. In fact, he expresses that it is closer to a high-functioning awareness, where soldiers have been so used to being in such a state of hypervigilance and highly wired on adrenaline, and then the torture of returning home, feeling alienated in a very slow-paced civilian world, a world they no longer recognize.
I think for me and many other veterans who have experienced combat, coming home is the biggest fear. We take comfort in danger. It's common sense through common practice, which you don't get in your civilian environment, and it takes you over at a cellular level. I think when it comes to veterans, there's no psychologist that can guide you through anything unless they have been there themselves.
On my back! You on my back, Lord!
Training and really learning how everything works and the whole war, it's like this whole small little bubble of a world that no one outside, the rest of humanity doesn't understand. It's, sometimes I wish I could go back and experience it all over again.
The adjustment process is it's very difficult, and this leads to a lot of soldiers jumping in and out of the military constantly because they can't adapt back into a civilian society.
Sebastian Junger echoes Kata Po with these same sentiments about the feelings of alienation when soldiers return home.
You think about all of these soldiers having an experience like that, a bond like that, in a small group, where they love 20 other people, in some ways more than they love themselves. You think about how good that would feel. Imagine it. And they are blessed with that experience for a year, and then they come home, and they are just back in society like the rest of us are, not knowing who they can count on, not knowing who loves them, who they can love, not knowing exactly what anyone they know would do for them if it came down to it. That is terrifying. Compared to that, war psychologically in some ways is easy compared to that kind of alienation. That's why they miss it, and that's what we have to understand and in some ways fix.